Dear children, today we are going to learn a new lesson, Chapter 1, The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. This lesson begins with the painting of Frederick Sorio, The Dream of Worldwide Democratic and Social Republics. We are going to interpret the meaning of this painting in the next slide. Frederick Sorio, a French artist, in 1848 prepared a series of 4 prints visualizing his dream of a world made up of democratic and social republics. The first print shows the people of Europe and America marching in a long train and offering homage to the Statue of Liberty as they pass it. The torch of enlightenment was carried by a female figure in one hand and the Charter of the Rights of Man in the other. On the earth, in the foreground, lie the shattered remains of the symbols of absolutist institutions. In Sorio's utopian vision, the people of the world are grouped as distinct nations identified through their flags and national costumes. The procession was led by the United States and Switzerland, followed by France and Germany. Following the German people are the people of Austria, the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, Lombardy, Poland, England, Ireland, Hungary and Russia. From the heavens above, Christ, saints and angels gaze upon the scene. They have been used by the artist to symbolize fraternity among the nations of the world. Now let's see who was Frederick Sorio. He was a French artist famous for prints prepared in 1848 that visualized the dream of a world consisting of democratic and social republics. Next one, nationalism. Nationalism, a feeling of oneness with the society or the state, love and devotion for the motherland, and belief in the political identity of one's country are the basic attributes of nationalism. Now let's see what is a nation state. A state that establishes itself as a separate political and geographical entity and functions as a complete and sovereign territorial unit. This concept emerged in the 19th century Europe as a result of the growth of nationalism. Modern state, a state in which sovereignty is exercised by a centralized power over a specific territory and population. Absolutist government, a system of government wherein limitless powers are vested in a single person or a body. It is a monarchical form of government in which the ruler is the absolutist authority and is not answerable to anybody. Next one, the French Revolution and the idea of nation. The French Revolution is regarded as one of the most important events in history. It not only gave a huge setback to monarchy, but also gave the first clear expression to the idea of nationalism. The French Revolution led to the transfer of sovereignty from monarchy to the French citizens. The constitution in France came into existence and citizens were awarded with the rights of liberty and equality. The French revolutionaries introduced various measures and practices to create a sense of collective identity among the French people. These were the ideas of la patrie, that is the fatherland, and les citoyens, that is the citizen, were introduced. The Estates General was renamed as the National Assembly. Next one, its members were elected by active citizens, that is, citizens who paid taxes to the government. The new French flag replaced the former royal standard. Nation now became supreme. Hymns were composed, and oaths were taken in the name of the nation. It was regarded as the fatherland. The administrative system was centralized and uniform laws were formulated for all citizens. A uniform system of weights and measures was adopted and internal customs duties and dues were abolished. The French language, which was spoken and written in Paris, was made the common language of the people residing in France. The revolutionaries declared that their next motive is to help other people of Europe to become nations. Now let's see Napoleon, child of the French Revolution and the Civil Code of Napoleon. The rise of Napoleon marked the rise of monarchy in France. However, Napoleon implemented some revolutionary ideas and principles in France. He did this by taking the following steps. He introduced the Civil Code of 1804, also known as the Napoleonic Code. This code instituted the principle of equality of all people before the law. Right to property was established and all privileges enjoyed by the people of high birth and class were abolished. This code was also promulgated to other parts of Europe which were controlled by France. In many European countries such as Switzerland, Germany, Dutch Republic and Italy, he simplified the administrative machinery, ended the feudal system and liberated the peasants from serfdom. In towns, restrictions imposed on guilds were removed and transport and communication systems were improved. Businessmen, small industrialists and traders began to realize the importance and advantages of a uniform system of laws. Europe in 1871. Now let's see demerits of the civil code introduced by Napoleon. In many places such as Holland and Switzerland, Brussels, Mainz, Milan, Warsaw, the French armies were welcomed as harbingers of liberty. It became clear that the new administrative arrangements did not go hand in hand with the political freedom. Increased taxation, censorship, forced conscription into the French armies all seemed to outweigh the advantages of the administrative changes. Now let's see the next topic, that is landed aristocracy and the rise of middle class. Socially and politically, a landed aristocracy was the most important class in Europe. The members of this class, that is the aristocrats, were united by a common way of life that cut across regional divisions. Their families were often connected by ties of marriages. This powerful aristocracy was, however, numerically a small group. The growth of towns and the emergence of commercial classes whose existence was based on the production for the market. Industrialization began in England in the second half of the 18th century, but in France and other parts of the German states, it occurred only during the 19th century. In its wake, a new social group came into being, a working class population and the middle classes made up of industrialists, businessmen and professionals. It was among the educated, liberal middle classes that the ideas of national unity following the abolition of aristocratic privileges gained popularity. What did liberal nationalism stand for? Ideas of national unity in the early 19th century Europe were closely allied to the ideology of liberalism. The term liberalism derives from the Latin word liber, meaning free. Liberalism stood for freedom for the individual and equality of all before the law. It emphasized the concept of government by consent and a constitution and representative government through parliament.